Hello. Meow. Say hi,
Oh
Luna.
yeah, is that what it sounds like?
Meow. Did you hear?
No,
She's not having it. You don't want to be a guest on the pod? Okay.
we're a
Welcome
dog
to,
podcast.
well, we've been a dog podcast until I met this little one, this little fuzzball. Welcome to the Wisco Wistys. We're back. Last episode, I think 25, right? Last episode before we take a little break here because the NFL season is over, which is very sad. It hit me maybe a week or two ago. I think it was right before the championship games. I'm like, shit, we only have three more games of football left until like September. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of sad, but we're gonna take a little bit of a break. There's not as much going on, but we will have more episodes coming out after this one. They might not just be every week. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok and X to learn about any details. Otherwise, we'll just keep posting and then just keep checking YouTube. We'll have some guests. We'll look at college basketball, March Madness specifically. We'll talk about the NFL draft in April. And then once the NBA
You have
playoffs
free
start,
agency in March.
yep, once the NBA playoffs start taking off, we'll talk about that a lot too. And then before you know it, we'll be right back into training camp and the NFL season again. So just a heads up on the future here.
Okay, welcome back. We had a little technical difficulties. I didn't sound very good. Audio was screwed up, but we're back in business now. I'm just hooked up by wires in every angle. So, Cole, you asked anything you want to talk about the big game right out of the gate. Um, I wasn't very impressed for a while. With
Mm-hmm.
The whole game. It was 10-3 or something at half. I was like, this is
Mm-hmm.
the Super Bowl. Mahomes didn't play that good.
Pause.
Go.
Least favorite stat is came back from a 10-point lead. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it was the second quarter. Like, what are we talking about?
Mahomes comes
Start.
back in all these Super Bowls. Oh my God. Yeah. 10-point lead. That's a touchdown. And then you're right there. Come on.
And I get it. It's not been done a lot, but like 10 points in the second quarter is different than 10 points with 6 minutes left in the fourth. It's a different world.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I was not very impressed. I mean, Mahomes, what do you have? Two touchdowns, one interception. What was his passer rating?
it was like a 90 something, I think, or
Yeah. I mean, he's better than that. Let's just say that. He did not play up to his par, but I mean, his team wasn't as good this year as it was in years past.
it's
He's really
99.
he's really good. I'm just going off the cuff here on what I'm thinking about this game. Purdy fucking sucks. I've been saying that forever.
Okay, but Purdy did not look bad. He
Bad?
didn't look like,
No. He's a
yeah,
game
he
manager.
was.
Strange. Well, everyone thinks that
Yeah, I
except for
mean,
the fucking 49ers. Um,
I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean,
I
it
mean, they
was just
called Tom Brady.
eh. Yeah, he's the greatest game manager of all time.
Probably would have won that game if he would have played.
Yeah. So it was just eh. I was not very I mean, the last episode I was like, I'm not very excited about this game. And then we talked more about Super Bowls. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm into it. And then I was in the middle of this game, I'm like, yeah, this is why I'm not as excited about this game. So
It,
it was kind
I
of just
agree. It grew.
for a while. At the
It
end, it
grew.
got interesting, and then I'm like, okay, we're in
Yeah, it grew
overtime.
on me.
That was great. I think the overtime rule change was weird because we hadn't seen that yet. So that was kind of interesting. All the news coming out about the 49ers being not prepared for that blows my mind. How do you not coach your team up for that? A lot of these guys are like, yeah, I didn't know the rules, whatever. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That's crazy to me.
I'll be honest with you though. I don't know, like I'm sure some of them didn't, but like what the fuck does it matter if they don't? Like if Shanahan knows and he can communicate it to Brock, who can communicate it to the rest of the team, who fucking cares?
It shouldn't really matter.
That's what I mean.
The
Like
only
it
thing that
okay,
really
so
matters is like
are you not going all
strategy.
out?
It's strategy. Like the Chiefs were like,
Let's get
we were going to defer if we won.
let's get into it. Let's go right now. Are
Okay.
you're flip the coin toss gets
I'm
flipped.
deferring
You're the
all day.
Niners.
Defer, defer, defer.
Okay. I completely
Trent,
agree,
defer.
right? A good one. I completely agree, but I will
Thing.
defend part of this though. Okay?
Okay.
I will defend it. I don't like his answer of, well, we wanted the third possession. Who the fuck says you get to a third possession? I don't like that answer. Like the Chiefs are like, we'll just go for two. I
Okay.
get
I have
the
a rebuttal, but yeah.
analytics of it. I get it. Like you get the third, you go back and forth, and you only need a field goal, whatever, higher odds. But the football momentum, non-analytical, what they can't figure out, I understood. The Chiefs started to gain momentum, started to gain speed at the end of that game.
Yep.
Defense was on the field all the way to the end of the fourth quarter. Do you want to go out there and go, hey, Mahomes, get the ball again? He's going to go right down the field and go all the way. You say, but yeah, now we know. And this is why I agree with deferring. You get 4 downs compared to their 3. Every time Mahomes had a fourth down, he's like, we have to go for it because we have to get a field goal at least,
Right.
or we have to go for it to score. So you have
That's
that
just the
mentality.
analytics. It's analytics
Here's my
versus,
pushback.
yeah.
Correct. You have more chances, but here's my pushback on that. Having Brock Purdy is the problem, and playing Spags is the problem. Because Spags, when the game, at the end of the game, it was what, 3rd and 4. If they get the first down, it's over. They kick the field goal, they win the Super Bowl. What the fuck does Spags do? He goes, fuck you. I'm not going down sitting there. I'm blitzing the shit out of you. And what does Purdy do? He does what normal quarterback would do. I think Mahomes scrambles, pump fakes, finds a protection, hits Ayuk. You know what I mean? Does a magic man, good quarterback, crazy play.
Yeah.
Purdy just goes, blitz is coming, I'm hitting, it gets knocked down. I don't want to be in a position with Brock Purdy if we're down a touchdown, let's say, where it's 4th down, Spags knows we're throwing, I know we're throwing. The world knows we're throwing.
Yeah.
It's 4th and 7. He's blitzing. I don't think our protection's going to catch it. I don't want to be in that position. I would rather
Right.
go down the field, go for a touchdown, even go for 2 if you got the plan, McCaffrey, whatever. Figure it out then. Because when you're going on the first drive, he doesn't know if you're gonna go for it on 4th. He doesn't know if you're gonna throw it. Like when it was their first possession in overtime, he could have ran it on 3rd and 5 because we're going for it. And I think they should have. I honestly do. We're going for it. I don't care. I know he's going down to score. Our defense is gassed. He's a stud. We're going for it. So run it with McCaffrey to get it 4th and 2, and now I can do anything, right? Go for the 2-point conversion. Make them score and score again, because then I get the ball. I'm going down haymakers. They kind of went down like little jabs, and they were like, fuck, don't hit me. Like
Yeah.
that you can't do, right? With those guys, you can't. And I just don't like that mentality. I think they had the slightly right approach, but that's the only defense I'll put towards it.
No, I mean it's a feel for how the game is going type of call, but in the end, I
Yes,
think
that's the exact
analytics
thing.
make the most sense. Like give them the ball. If they score a touchdown, you want to score a touchdown either way, right? It's just like any other overtime where the more points you score, the odds are you're going to be in better shape. Because if you score a touchdown after they do, then you move on, or you can go for 2 and then just win the game and you're done. So I like deferring just based off of that. It makes sense to me. But yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from on the feel of the game argument side, but I still think the analytics makes sense. I like the
Yeah,
rule
I agree.
change. I will say that it makes it more fair. Like a coin flip still gives you the edge, but you have the chance to make a difference, whether you're on offense or defense. So I like the rule change, but um yeah, I think deferring would have been better. And I understand why they would want, I mean, the way he says, like, oh, I want the third possession, that's not the best way to put it. It should be, we're
No,
gonna win
it's
this game no
smart. I
matter
get it,
what. But I understand where he's coming from, I guess is what I'm
no,
saying.
I like the rule change when Aaron has never touched the ball in overtime in 2 playoff games. That's
Right.
fucked. Like, I get it.
Yeah, it shouldn't
Buffalo
come
got it
down
changed, and
to
they're like, Josh
chance.
should have gotten the ball. I'm like,
It shouldn't come
we've
down
gone
to
through this already.
statistics and chance where it's how often does a
Correct.
coin flip that way. That's not what it should come down
Now,
to.
we're talking about Shanahan. First of all, I don't like blaming Shanahan for that loss. I thought Shanahan coached well.
Yeah,
I
0 and
did.
3 in the Super Bowl. They're like, oh my God, can he win the big game? I'm like, all right, let's
That
just
stat
chill.
bugs me too. That bugs me because
Yeah,
since
let's
when do we
relax.
take offensive coordinators as 0 and 3? Like, he
Yeah,
was the
he's 0 and
OC for the
2. He's
Falcons
0 and 2 as a
as
head
a head
coach.
coach.
He's 0 and
Last time
3
I
as
checked, Dan
being in the
Quinn.
Super Bowl. Like, okay, that's
Yeah,
different.
since when do we do that? Dan Quinn was responsible for giving up fucking 25 straight points
Yeah,
with
to
a
the fucking
defensive head coach.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Why is that on him? It's
Right.
not. Like, could he have run the ball a little more? Sure, but like, it's on the head coach to be like, hey, Kyle, run the fucking ball. Like, so why do we blame him for that? Second of all, who are those 3 losses to? Brady, one of the all-time greats. Mahomes,
Mahomes and Mahomes.
all-time great.
Yeah.
Right? So like, what? Like, sometimes, and I heard this, I'll steal it.
And
I'm
who were
not
his
saying it's.
quarterbacks? Garoppolo and fucking Purdy. Uh, and
That's my point. Okay, I heard this from Florio and Sims. I'm stealing it right now. They said in the 90s, and this could be happening now, Jordan made people who were great, could have been all time at even a higher level, look minuscule. Right? Carl Malone,
It's the Clyde
Patrick
Drexler.
Ewing, Clyde Drexler. Like, if he doesn't retire, does Olajuwon even win? I don't know. He
Yeah.
just eliminated people from history for certain accomplishments. So you're going up against people that do that to you. And guess what? He didn't have Carl Malone on his team. He had fucking Thanasis out there throwing the football. Like, that's what do you want him to do? Like, he had McCaffrey, who I thought had a great game. Kittle, non-existent.
That's
Debo,
a bummer.
non-existent.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Ayuk, not. So like, that's my other point too. Again, I
Their
said this in the
stars,
Packer
the only
game.
way they would have won is if the stars showed up and they didn't. I feel bad because I love Kittle.
Yes,
And Kittle,
yes.
like there's that
He's
clip of
ugly,
him.
but yes.
Yes. And he's got like a cartoon tattoo on his fucking hand. Like,
He's
what are you
so
doing? And he doesn't
ugly.
even have a full sleeve. It's like just up to here. It's like, what are you doing, buddy? But
Yes.
hot wife, good for him. Um, the clip of him going like in the Super Bowl as they're losing, he's like, I will be back. I will be back. I
Yeah,
like that.
positive affirmations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's
I
cool.
know, like
It's a
that's a
good mindset.
great mindset. I love it. But
Iowa. Yeah.
to show up to the Super Bowl and not show up with your play, not that it's all his fault, it just sucks. I feel bad because I like
Well,
Kittle.
McCaffrey dominated. I thought he played very well outside of the fumble. Fumble was costly, but he played a studly game. But Debo got locked up, like
Mm-hmm.
locked up. He gets no separation against those two.
He had a
Corners,
little
by the way,
hamstring
got to be
tweak,
mentioned.
so that didn't help, but still,
Yeah.
yeah.
Legarius and McDuffie, Like, oh my God. And just so you know, the Chiefs jumped the Bills in the draft to get McDuffie. Both teams wanted him. I think we're in a different space right now. I'm going to be honest with you, if that player's on a different team because he made a huge deal. He's an all pro. Like, that's a crazy world. They
He's
locked
not
him
related
up.
to our
I,
McDuffie, is he?
no.
That would
He's
be
better.
nice. That would be
Yeah,
nice.
I wish. Um, Ayuk was like he was there. He was probably the best out of the bunch. Jawan Jennings showed up. Like other guys that you're like, okay, so they had a little more, but I push back all the time. The Packers, after the game, I said it repeatedly. And Andy Reid, I heard he was quoted saying this. He's like, guys, when we get to this level, it's not about the rotational players. It's about my stars, our stars outplaying theirs. So I'm looking at you, 15. I'm looking at 87. I'm
Yeah.
looking at 95. And the Packers don't have those guys,
Yeah.
all of them. But Chris Jones, they don't win Super Bowls without Chris Jones. He's knocked Jimmy Garoppolo's arm through a pick. He literally, I don't know why, but didn't get blocked. And Ayuk is open in the end zone, and
Did you
Juwan Jennings is open.
that broken down play where that right tackle just completely ignores two guys coming in
Yeah.
on his left to like go out to the guy way out to his right. That Kittle is fucking chipping.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Literally could have pushed. It might have been Jones or whoever was the closest to your left. You could have pushed him into the other guy closer to the center,
Yeah.
and that would have at
Some of
least
it's
like pushed.
stupidity.
It could have like that could have at
Yes.
least affected the play a little bit. You couldn't. You didn't even
Mm-hmm.
need to block both of them at the same time. But what the fuck was he doing?
Some of it's stupidity, some of it's luck, but the guy pushed what's his face into Josh Allen. He couldn't make the throw. The guy makes huge plays when it matters. Kelsey was non-existent in the first half. Gets stupid little passes, gets going a little bit.
Remember when
Mahomes,
we talked about Chris Jones like in his signing in the beginning of the year when it almost didn't go through and
it's
we're like, oh my
it
God,
changed
he's sitting out.
it
It's like this
changed the
is
league.
oh, everyone's like, oh, who cares? That was a big deal. That was a huge deal.
He's a free agent again, and I hope to God he doesn't get signed because he's a massive deal for their defense.
How old is
Like
he?
he brought them. He's like 30 something. So he's getting up there and he brought their defense on the sideline, brought them together. Like people don't understand the impact their stars have in the big, like obviously we see Mahomes and what he did on the fourth down. He does this, scramble this, Kelsey catch here, whatever. But like their other players make such big plays and big moments, and the
Right.
Avengers literally collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself rooting for the Niners, which was hard to do because I don't like watching the Chiefs win, and I felt like we were watching Infinity War
Yeah. I was just
round
gonna say
two.
that. That
Like the
like
first time
Mahomes is
was like,
Thanos and
yeah,
the
he's
Niners are
Thanos, and they
in
snapped,
Infinity
and I
War.
was like,
So they
okay, cool.
Thanos
It's
wins.
Endgame now.
Yeah.
We need to win now, and Thanos just won again, and I'm like, I'm getting sick of Thanos winning again. I like movies where there's losing, and I like it when it's not the typical ending, but now the typical ending is Thanos winning, and I'm not having it.
Yeah.
I'm
We need
getting
some
sick of it.
superheroes to fucking pull through now.
Yes, show up. So
Yeah.
that would be my next question. Is there anything, because like the Niners had that kick blocked and the kicker, and then it hit the guy's foot on the punt, and like there's a bunch, and then he missed Ayuk on the blitz on 3rd and 5. They had a lot of opportunities to take it to me, and then they left it and he took it. Right? It's always ooh, and then they took it. Is there anything the Niners can do in your mind realistically to beat the Chiefs? Because that's the team to beat.
Well, apparently they're the favorites to win the Super Bowl next year, which blows my fucking
Wild.
mind. It
Wild.
blows my mind.
I was gonna put money on the Chiefs the moment I heard that. I was like, what are we doing? It's 650 or whatever. I was like, oh my
It
God.
I'll take a quote out of Dad's mouth. The the team that wins the Super Bowl or the finals or the championship that year should be the favorite for the next year because what do they have to prove? They just won it. If nothing changes, they should be the favorites again. And yeah, you can draft people and trade for people or whatever,
Well,
but no
I
one
heard that
knows
it's
how that affects the team until you start fucking playing.
I
If
heard it's
nothing
literally
changes, it should
history.
be the same. Yeah.
Nobody's
Blows
three-peated, so
my
that's why
mind.
they're not.
That's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
It should be the Chiefs all day. Like I was a moron for not believing in them this year because now next year I'm fucking right now I'm saying I will pick them to get to the Super Bowl at least. Because
That's
why
my
the
next
fuck
question.
shouldn't you?
Okay, here's my question.
I will
I don't
do
think the
it
Niners
until
can
they
do
give me a
anything,
reason not to. To
right?
answer your question, sorry to go off on a little rant there, is I know I beat him to the ground, but they need a guy. They need the guy at quarterback, and it's not Brock Purdy.
But
That's the
that's
difference to
not
me.
going to
You have,
change. It's not.
well, that sucks because then they're never going to win a Super Bowl.
I agree.
And I
I
don't really
genuinely agree with
care
that
because I'm
statement.
not a fucking 49ers fan, but you're not going to win a Super
So
Bowl with
then
Brock Purdy.
here's
When
my
we were
question.
halfway through and I was like, if the Niners win, Brock Purdy will not be MVP. It's going to be fucking Jennings because he threw a touchdown before Brock Purdy
Or
did.
McCaffrey. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's not even a question. So if you're leader of your team and your offense, which is usually the quarterback, like if you're a really good team, it's usually the quarterback. To reference Trent Dilfer again, there's outliers, but most of the time, the best player on your team is going to be your quarterback because it's the most important position. If he's not the best guy, the odds are not in your favor. And I'm a
That
strong
I
believer in
agree.
that.
And I completely agree. And that is why I don't think, specifically looking AFC, because NFC is kind of weak, I think there's only a handful of teams that can really compete because you need a dude at quarterback.
Yeah. You
Buffalo
need
Bills,
you need Burrow to fucking stay healthy
right? You
because
need the
he's proven he
Bills
can do
because
it
of Allen,
before.
right? But I don't think the Bills have the
Bills,
team.
well, they need to make some
You
changes, but
need
yes.
right. You need the Bengals. The Bengals would be the squad, but they got to keep some things together.
Yep.
They've done it, and they've got the charisma to do it. So that's like the number one
Ravens,
threat. Ravens have I don't know what else they fucking need, but
weapons.
they have a guy.
They're
They got to
close.
do it, right? That would be the they
And
would be the
their
team.
guy needs to prove to us that he is the guy. Because he could be a
I'm
fraud. He could be a Dak. He could be someone who's like, oh, he looks good until he
correct.
doesn't. He needs to like take that next step, which I mean,
I don't
he's
think
still young. He could do
I
it.
don't think it's there yet, but I think CJ Stroud later could be
Hmm.
later, not now, later.
As long as
Interested? I'm
the franchise does the right stuff. They got the right
yes.
quarterback, they got the right coach for now that I
He's a difference
they look
maker.
good.
Yes.
So they just have to do everything right from here on out. You can miss here and there with some draft picks, but they need to make the right moves. So it's
Yes.
all about front office
The
to me.
other so then I'm not picking the Eagles because I've seen him play Hurts play his best game in the Super Bowl and they still lost, right? So
Right.
I'm hot topic, not putting them in there. I think I'm just as a nice little bubble in the way back of people's minds, interested in Jim Harbaugh and Herbert. Herbert's talented. Jim likes to play a smash mouth defense. Like in 5 years, maybe, that team could be a force. But again, we're
Maybe
talking
less.
now.
Yeah, maybe
There's
2 years,
not a
maybe
lot of
3 years. Who
teams. And
knows?
then the only other team really in my mind would be the Rams if they can kind of pick it up a little bit with their defense. Because
And if
Stafford and
Stafford can
McVay are
still
special.
play good enough getting older.
Yeah, he's special with his arm. And we've seen him make no look Cooper Cup
Yeah.
fucking darts down the middle of the field in the Super Bowl. Those would be the only ones. And I'm sorry, but that list is fucking piss poor. It's
Yeah.
tough. It really is.
That's
So I don't know
why
why you
everyone
wouldn't do it.
talking about the dynasty that is Kansas City is they're not too far fetched over there. It
So here
sucks because I
we
hate that.
have
I don't want one team dominating in any league. I want at least two where it's like Lakers, Celtics, where you're like, oh my God, these are the powerhouses, but it could be any fucking given year.
Warriors, Cavs,
Boom,
yeah,
boom.
Heat,
Yeah, I
Spurs.
love that. I love that. I want where it's like, yeah, it's probably going to be them again, but at least it's a coin flip when they get there, you know? So I at least want two, but I would love to have like three or four where it can be any of these combinations could get there and it would make
I
sense.
just don't.
And we just
I
don't
just don't
have
think
that
it's
right
gonna
now in the
happen.
NFL. It
Because
sucks. It's Kansas City and someone else has to
as
prove
long
them
as
different. And
Andy
then
Reid is
whoever the
there,
fuck makes it out of the NFC can be the
so
Packers for
here's
all we know.
no. Try again. Here's the next
We
point.
almost
Okay,
beat the Super Bowl 49ers.
almost. Yeah, we choke away every year. Until we don't, you can't say anything.
I'm just saying.
We're gonna talk about GOAT now. Okay,
Okay.
I have I have two things to say. I don't think this dynasty is gonna be stopped. I think Mahomes Brady is officially over. I'm sorry. Mahomes is better. Move on. If you can't see that, he literally has the Brady luck, the Brady clutch, the Brady mentality, and he's 10 times more talented. Like, let's just move on. People that are like 7 and he beat him in the playoffs. I'm like, did you watch that Super Bowl? Like, give me a break. Did you like fuck, like if you think that, like all the Tom Brady defenders, the mass holes are like 7, 7,
Yeah.
3, 7. He beat him too, so he has to get 8. I'm like,
And
no.
they're
Did you
probably from Boston. They probably think that
or they're from
Bill
like
Russell's the
fucking
best NBA player ever too, because he's got the
yeah,
most chips.
North Dakota, and they just jumped on the bandwagon. They're like Brady. I'm like, no, like no. Okay? But I'm going to say something right now, and I don't know if this is going to surprise you, but listen up.
All right.
If you want to come to me and say Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT, is the best of all time, the greatest you've ever seen over Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to argue.
I mean, that is a shock because I know how much you love Aaron, but it doesn't, I mean, it makes sense. We both pride ourselves on being logical and not letting our feelings
Objective.
yeah, get caught up in all of it. We try to be objective. I know we have a bias and people will be like, oh, these two fuckers are from Green Bay. Of course, they're going to think Aaron Rodgers is the best. And yeah, there is a little bit of a bias there. We want our team to have the greatest of all time, just like anyone else would. So fuck you and fuck off. But at least we have the decency of admitting, yeah, this guy is
Well,
fucking
okay,
good.
so
And he
let
could
me
be the
say
best
something,
ever.
and you tell me if you agree. I I see tweets of people that are like Mahomes is Brady's mentality and clutchness and luck with Aaron's skill. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
that makes sense.
don't mind it. I agree with that statement. Aaron, people are like, man, the Chiefs with Mahomes is what the people wished Aaron and the Packers were if they like put the right shit around him and had a defense and whatever. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I agree with
I
that
don't mind
too.
it. I I will go to my fucking grave and say no one plays the position better than 12. He's smart. He can make every throw you've ever seen ever.
Not
Mahomes
Brady
can make
12, Rogers 12.
Rodgers 12. Every Mahomes can make every throw too though. He can. Accuracy and is the ball is pretty? I think that's up for debate. Does he protect the ball as well? No, but he also chucks and doesn't give a fuck. Like I'm
Yeah,
not really
there's
upset
just
with
a
an aggressive
backyard.
quarterback.
It's kind of like
Yeah, it's
the
Favre.
love child between Favre and Rogers.
Correct. And then
That's how
he
I
has
describe him.
the other thing, and it's young and it's early. So like this is very early now. We'll see in 10 years. I keep saying that because like how he performs when he can't run around, like Aaron can't run around anymore, is huge because running is massive in his game. Extending plays,
Mhm.
running for the fourth down, running for the third.
And
Like let's
Aaron
see how
taught
good he is.
him all that. through
Yeah, when he
tape and
can't
shit.
do that, right? Like
Yeah.
Brady was dominant in the pocket. Can he be that? I don't know. We'll see. He's
Hmm.
got the arm, but does he like is he going to want to go? And then the other thing is like can he keep it up? I think so. Will he have the great coach? I think so. The mentality is just different right now. Like his like want like Aaron, I'm not saying Aaron's not a competitor and not but like his like into researching with draft wide receivers and like practicing with draft wideouts and like all these like obsessive little crazy things. I don't know if Aaron did or didn't do them, but it's evident he has it. When they're down, you're never thinking they're out. I've been
Hmm.
in plenty games where I've watched the Packers and I'm like, we're fucked. And Aaron's body language is like, oh, fuck this. Like, there's just moments where you see the different level of want and leadership that he has. So if you want
Yeah.
to argue it, I have nothing against it. I
Yeah.
can't say no.
I have a follow-up question to all this. Okay. Okay. So my question to you is at some point in history, time being a linear thing here, was Brady the greatest player of all time?
No. Did I say that
So,
too fast?
because, okay, so when did Brady start playing? Early
99,
2000s?
I think.
Yeah.
98, 99.
And he won in like 2003, 2000, whatever. So at some point, there was a GOAT. There's always a GOAT in every second of time, right? So at some point, someone was the GOAT until Aaron came along, and he wasn't the GOAT when he first started. It was like maybe a year or two before he got started or before he won. And then definitely when he won, and then as time continued, and then maybe now that he's older, Mahomes is taking that baton. I agree with you that the last two GOATs, if it's being passed to Mahomes, is Brady or sorry, I already fucked that up. Is Rodgers and Mahomes. So who was before Rodgers?
In my idea or what other people think?
No, I'm asking you.
To me, it's because I never watched, so it's tough. Like, I never got into the early time period. But from my understanding of what I've listened to, watched, heard, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Montana was the Tom Brady of our generation. Very good, but great team around him. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
people would say him.
Or like John
I think the
Elway
I think the better argument is Dan Marino,
or John
John
Elway.
Elway, Peyton Manning, or Brett Favre. Like you'd run through those guys.
Sure.
Um, I wouldn't take Favre just for the interceptions. I'm probably not going to take Manning because I don't think he's as talented.
But
So
for that
probably,
given time
and
period, someone had to be,
I
right?
would
So
probably say
between
John Elway
Elway,
then. John,
what about Elway
John,
between
or
Elway and Rodgers? Who's getting that gap? Because Elway was like 90s into maybe early 2000s,
but
and then it was
but you're
early
talking
2000s till
best.
2010.
Are you talking? Are you talking best player in the league at that time? Or are you just talking GOAT? Because like when Aaron leaves, if Mahomes doesn't exist, Aaron retires, he's still the GOAT,
Right. And no
right?
one has
He's still the
surpassed him.
guy.
So it could be
No
someone
one's
way
surpassed
before all
him.
these guys. It could have been fucking Bart Starr. I mean, I don't know. Or
No, I mean Roger
whoever.
Staubach was talked about a
Yeah.
lot during that time period, but
So, I mean, I'd
I
have
think
to
it's
look. I don't
Elway or
know either. I'm just
Marino up
asking.
until no, it's Elway or Marino up until Aaron. That's what I would say.
So you think Elway or Marino is better as a whole than Manning or Brady?
And that's a wild thing to say, right? Because Manning and Brady have 9 Super Bowls together, and Elway and Marino have 2 together, and Elway has 2, so Marino has 0.
But
But
you know me, and I don't
correct,
care about
I
that.
know
That means
people
nothing to
correct.
me.
John Elway's 2 Super Bowls came at the end of his career. He went to like 5, I think, and he was dominant in the beginning ones, but lost. Like he was a stud, but lost. And the ones he won, he had like 100 yards passing. Like like Terrell Davis was the man.
Yeah.
So like that just shows the like just because you're a stud doesn't mean you're gonna win. Like Peyton Manning won his second one. He got benched that year for Brock Osweiler. We're counting that as a second ring.
Well,
Like
he's
what the
6'8",
fuck,
so
man? Yeah, right. So that counts though. Like he was an MVP. That fucking counts. Tom Brady won one 13-3 and fucking Edelman won the game,
right.
right? Jared Goff, like that
He threw
counts.
one past the Gronk, and that's what happened. Yeah.
But
I mean,
like
I
from
agree. I
what I've
agree.
heard, I trust Sims probably to a fault. And other people I've read, like Dan Marino throws one of like still to this day next to Rogers or better than Rogers to some people, the best ball ever. If you watch some of his highlights, they're dirty. Like the ball is just like, oh my God. And if you look at what he did, he had 420 touchdowns in the like when he retired, when he was playing in the 80s and 90s. That's
Mhm.
nuts.
Yeah.
And in a
All
short
the rules are
season, what do they do
different.
now? And
Season shorter.
yeah, they
Yeah.
barely threw the ball. He had
Yeah.
5,000 yards passing. Like 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 what was the touchdown leader this year? Like Brock, like
30. Yeah.
Mahomes,
Like
they threw like
Jordan was
30
right there.
touchdowns.
He was like two
That's
behind
what I
Dak.
mean. So like
If
for what
Dak
he
is the
was
leader.
doing back in the day
Yeah.
is insane. Insanity. He
Yeah.
just ran into some good teams. So I take it off of that and then I think it just rolls into Aaron eventually. If you want to be a Favre guy because he had the talent and whatever, just threw the ball to the other team too much, I wouldn't be against it. He won 3 MVPs when,
Yeah.
like he was a stud.
I was
But
just thinking of
I,
time as very linear and like, okay, if you have to designate like this time period with who's the best right now, and it's gonna be quarterbacks because let's be honest, it's the most important position, whatever. If you're gonna be like, okay, this guy's the GOAT from this time period, this guy's got this much, and then it's Aaron or
what's
whatever, I
what's
would say
funny?
that makes sense. But then when you said like, even if this guy retires, he can still be the GOAT because no one comes close to him, even
Yeah,
after he's done
last
playing.
forever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jordan, right?
Yeah.
What's funny though when you think about this is like 90s were like Cowboys Niners, right? They won, and then you get it was like the Rams, and then you get early 2000s for Tom Brady and the Patriots. But like 2005 to 2014, Brady didn't win a Super Bowl, right? I'm hoping that happens to Mahomes. Like we just get this dead space, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, who the fuck? So if Brady's not winning, and he's not, I mean, he played well in like MVP in '07. They went in 7 and 11 and whatever. But like, look who won. It was like the Steelers twice, the Packers, the Saints,
The fucking
the
Giants.
Colts, the Giants. Like it's
Yeah.
random ass teams on with like Eli Manning, fucking Big Ben, fucking Aaron Rod. Like there's like no consistency of like Aaron, okay, but like the great like is Big Ben the best player in the league in from 2005 to 14,
No.
13?
But
No.
that should give
The
other
gap,
teams
it's
hope.
weird.
That should give other teams hope because just because you winning a Super Bowl is hard. Having one of the best
Unbelievable hard.
pass throwers ever on your team helps, but it doesn't
Yeah.
guarantee anything.
No, it just covers
So
holes.
having that's a great point. Having that long span of Brady not winning, he got to a couple, but he didn't win. He's still good, but wasn't good enough, or his team wasn't good enough. So that should give people hope. It's hard to fucking win. It's hard to repeat.
Well,
It's really hard
I
to
hate
three-peat. So maybe that's why the 49ers are the favorites, but I
I
think
hate to say it.
you don't have to be the best quarterback in the league to win the Super Bowl. Flacco.
No,
I can't believe I've said Dilfer's name this many times in one podcast, but
yeah,
Trent
you gotta
Dilfer.
knock that fucking off. Sims
I
talks
mean,
about all
there's
the time. He's
guys
like,
who
you need
can
to
win.
build a team, right? Having that
There's
elite
multiple ways to
quarterback,
win a Super Bowl. You can have a Hall of Famer like
correct,
Breeze,
just helps.
but
Yes.
he's not the greatest ever. You can have Rodgers and he finally gets his fucking top 10 defense and they win.
I think
There's a million ways to do it.
there's just less room for error when you don't have that elite guys. That's why it's hard. That's why
Right.
everyone
You want to
searches for it. But I
minimize
think
the variables.
correct. I think there's a good amount of guys who could win that are still good enough to cover holes. And I will
Yeah.
say this too, like the Chiefs got rid of Tyreek Hill, but like let's be real, Travis Kelsey's gonna be elite from what I mean, was he elite this year? Like
No.
that's gonna fall off quick. So like what
He
happens
wasn't that
then? Like
elite this game. Like he had 9
well,
for
that's what I
93, but it was like
yeah,
I would
well,
almost
that's what I'm
garbage
saying.
time shit. Like it was
Like the
just, oh, he's
Patriots
wide
were
open over
a
the middle. Oh, he's wide open over the middle for 15
yes,
for
the
15.
Patriots early on were a defensive led team, and then they transitioned to that offensive monster with key defense.
Yeah, Randy Moss
The
and all those
Chiefs
guys.
started offensive led, have are in this transition to defense, but in the league we're in now with the rules, I
Offense
wouldn't
is
be
key.
shocked if they lose some playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to, but like without Kelsey, his, let's say 5 years from now, Mahomes is what, 34, 33, whatever, loses a step, right? Just a step. So he gets caught that one time, right?
Yeah.
No Kelsey. I don't know if they draft someone. Maybe they got someone else good, but he's a wide out, not middle of the field guy. Andy Reid's gone. Like the league's going to be different. And that's a harder place to play. Like it's a harder area. Like his room for errors now, like that. Like
Yeah.
it's just different. That's all I'll say.
No, I agree. I think the Chiefs, you shouldn't fuck with them. I mean, it's like
No, they're
Denver and Jokic right now. Like they should be the favorites to win it all because they just did. And they have the best player in the league right now. So until
until
someone,
JT shows up.
yeah, until someone proves them wrong, that's how it should be. So I mean, I would say the Chiefs are the team to beat, and as they should be, but I don't think you need someone better than Mahomes to win the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow can win a Super Bowl. Josh Allen can win a
I
Super
mean,
Bowl. If Matt
it's a
Stafford can win a Super Bowl, any of those guys can. Lamar can. I mean, AFC, like you said, is a little top heavy, or they have more
but
teams.
it cuts off quick though. Think about it. It
It
does. Like,
does.
are you
Look at the NFC.
like Tua's not winning a Super Bowl? Like that's
The
not fucking
best
happening.
team that made it to the NFC
Do we trust
was
Goff?
led by a quarterback that was picked last in the
Yeah,
entire
Brock.
fucking draft.
That's what I mean. I don't know if I really trust a lot of it. So like,
Look at
there's
all the
guys, but it's
quarterbacks.
a small error.
Pick quarterbacks. We just do something really quick. Pick if you were starting a team for next year, what quarterback do you want? You have the quarterbacks to pick out of the NFC. So you have Jalen Hurts
Just
or Baker Mayfield.
well, I'll just go down the thing here. I mean,
You want probably
Niner or
Hurts, right?
Brock, right? Yeah, like I'm taking Hurts.
Hurts over
I'll take
Baker.
Dak.
You want Goff or Stafford?
Want Stafford.
Stafford.
I'm taking
Do you
Stafford
want
over every
Love?
NFC quarterback.
Yeah. Do you want Love or
Every
Dak?
single one. Love.
Do you want? Okay, so now do you want Brock or Love?
Love.
Love. Do you want Stafford or Hurts?
Stafford.
Do you want Love or Stafford?
Stafford.
You want Stafford over Love?
Stafford's got a better arm and he's won a Super Bowl before. And he's got a better coach. I
If you're
mean,
starting a team right now, you want a 38-year-old dude?
he's like 36, but I want to win now. So
Okay.
fuck yeah, I do. I want to win now.
Okay, but Jordan's your second player, though. I'll take that. I think I want Jordan over all of those guys.
I think I'm gonna say this, and this might be a hot take, and if he goes to Chicago, it's a fuck show of a world, so it might not even happen. But I'm taking Caleb Williams third on that list, minimum. Like that could be the equivalent. Like, does Caleb Williams come in and you go, oh fuck, here comes a guy that's like, if he gets with the right team, with the right coach, I'm not saying it's Chicago, but if it all works out, does Mahomes go, Jesus Christ, that guy can do exactly what the fuck I can do? This is a problem.
I'm not sold on Caleb yet.
It could happen. I think he'll go to Chicago and die like every quarterback does, but it
I
could
hope he
happen.
does. For our sake, I hope he
'Cause it's
does.
gonna be a
But
problem.
I did see Cliff, is it Cliff Kingsbury? He went to
Washington, yeah.
Washington and he used to coach him.
That
So
team's a
there's like things where like,
trap.
oh, maybe they'll
If he
trade
goes
with
to Washington, they're fucked. He's fucked. Dan Quinn, that's who we want. Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury. No,
those are the
pass.
first two
You might as
picking
well.
teams, right?
I'd be
So
like,
either
I'd rather
way,
go
he's
Chicago.
fucked
I'm gonna be
unless he
honest with you. I'd
lasts till
rather
the
go
third
Chicago.
team where someone else trades to pick
And
him.
New England. You want to go to New England now?
No, he's fucked. If I was him, I'd stay in the goddamn college football.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. We're doing
Let's
a
move on.
quick little drafty end of the year best NFL moments of the year. It doesn't have to be best, I should say. It's just the biggest moments.
Yeah, biggest or
Um,
wildest or whatever, because I don't have a
yeah.
lot of good ones.
Or yeah, I would just tell you how this year is encapsulated in our perspective, right? 4 rounds. It can be a moment, a play, a game, a player, anything.
Yeah, it's very
Do you
vague. I don't have a certain
do
game
you
for a couple of these, but yeah,
do you want to go first? Do you want me to give you I'll just, it's not even a trivia.
I'll go
I'll just tell
first.
you a fact.
Okay.
I'll just tell you a fact. Do you know what record Mahomes owns in Super Bowl history?
Like out of all the Super Bowls, this is something that he has only.
Yeah. He now owns the record.
No, I do not. I don't even want to guess.
Most fumbles recovered.
Really?
That motherfucker
Did
has
he?
recovered 4 fumbles
Of his own?
in 4 Super Bowls. It could be pitches to a running back. It could be his own fumble that he dropped.
Oh, like he
He's
drops a
recovered
snap.
4 of them.
Does that count? Like a
Well, I
low
don't know.
snap? Is that a
It would have to
fumble?
it would have to touch the ground after he caught it. I don't think if you just like if it like
Yeah, but
rolls
that
to
might be a
him.
skewed stat. If it's a low fumble and he catches it and then boom, or a low
Correct.
snap and he catches boom,
But
that's a fucking
but
fumble.
4,
Okay.
that's nuts. What the fuck are
That's
we
one per
talking about
game.
here?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus.
that's
Okay,
weird.
go first.
All right, one of my biggest moments of the 2023 NFL season. Not a good one because I'm a
Don't say it. Don't
homer.
say it.
Aaron Rodgers tearing his fucking ACL
Fucking
3
kills
plays
my
or 4
life.
plays into the
Four
season.
plays.
All the drama.
Carrying that flag out. Oh
Yeah.
God.
9/11. It's at New York. Let's go, America.
I
All
have no
the
confidence
fucking
in that team
hard
beating the Chiefs.
knocks. No, they suck.
Yeah.
Hard knocks just amping me the fuck up. I've never watched a show and been more excited about an NFL season than I did after
I
Hard
know. I
Knocks.
never watched
I'm like,
Hard
let's
Knocks.
go.
Yeah.
I've never been more excited about a team that's not mine before. Let's go. And then Aaron tears
It was
his
like,
fucking ACL.
I think I was
Pulls a Greenlaw before Greenlaw even knew it.
Achilles. Yeah.
Achilles all day. Or sorry, yeah, not ACL. Just that pop, the good old Kevin Durant. You see that fucking thing shoot up into your calf. You're like,
I
God
literally
damn it,
think
here
I
we
was
go.
just as mad losing to the Niners. I had the same feeling when he got hurt. Like the drop in my heart just went, oh God. I had the jersey on. I was like,
I know you
just,
bought a fucking jersey.
yeah. Next year, baby.
It sucks, man. I love Aaron.
That
I
was
felt
on
so
my
bad
list.
for him. I was so excited. I just wanted to see. I was just so curious. Like
Mhm.
it was something different. It's cool. Feel bad, but
I'm
yeah,
gonna
wild.
go.
It sucked. It was so anticlimactic for the season, but yeah.
I'm gonna go another. This is a personal one. By the commutative property, the Packers are the Super Bowl champs because we beat the Super Bowl champs on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
What a game! What a game to be at. We watched it. We've seen Mahomes. That was the team that won it all. We beat Swift when she was in the building. Like the
Yeah.
whole shebang. The seats are great. Sunday night. Fantastic experience. I watched the highlights like 4 weeks ago on my phone on the Sunday. I was like, oh, why not? Great. Fucking loved it.
Yeah.
That's mine.
I have one similar to that, but I'll wait with it. My second one would have to be um I would say I was really high on Christian McCaffrey all year, and I'll stick with that. So I think Christian McCaffrey's performance just as a whole, his whole
Awesome.
MVP ballot was just great. I love it for the game because it made people stop and think, even though Lamar was almost unanimous. I think it made people stop and think like, oh, maybe it doesn't have to be a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Because back
It made you
then,
made you question.
it was LT, we had some non-quarterback
Sean
MVPs.
Alexander, LT,
That's kind of cool.
AP.
Barry Sanders shared one
Yep.
with Brett. You know, he kind of brought that feeling back for me. I
I
like
like
I
McCaffrey
like
too.
CMC. He's a good guy.
I
Um,
like his wife too.
you better hope Paige doesn't watch this.
She doesn't watch any of this content, so I have the
She's
hots
just
for Olivia Culpo.
okay.
Yep.
But yeah, I think his whole like just his whole season was just great. He's a fucking stud. Great move by the Niners to go get him out of that shithole of Carolina.
That was questioned too.
It was
Yeah.
just cool just to see him do the stuff that he did as a receiving back, as a running back, just a stud. I thought that was awesome.
I'm gonna go with a similar um idea. I'm gonna go CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Like rookie who Bryce Young's the guy. Bryce Young's the guy. Number one pick. Bryce Young and CJ Stroud tore it up. Had like early MVP option. Oh my God. And then he got hurt at the end, so he kind of faded for what people remember. But when I first like watched a couple of some of his games, I was like, oh shit,
He's
this
good.
kid slings. Like this is different. Like you can just see it pop. That's what the whole like eye test. Watch CJ Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
Eye test. Really cool story. Like the Texans, the whole Deshaun Watson thing, they move on. The city kind of like, we suck, team sucks, and they just catapult into the playoffs. Like that's the definition of first to worst, or worst to first, sorry, worst to first. Cool NFL parody moment of like it takes one season, one coach, one player, you're there.
And they won a
Awesome.
playoff game.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Like no, yeah,
They
yeah,
beat the
that's
Browns.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
So,
nuts. That's crazy.
and I'll just add a little bit to that. He was picked second to Bryce Young.
Yeah,
I wasn't sold on
yeah.
either of them, I'll be honest. Like I'm not saying I knew this from the get-go because I didn't, but
I liked
all I
Stroud
knew
better, but
was
I
I
didn't think
didn't
he was going
like
to be that. Yeah.
Bryce. He's fucking 5'9" and 180 pounds soaking wet. That's not your guy. You know,
Hmm.
Russell Wilson might be the closest thing to that, but he's 6 foot and he's solid as fuck and he can take a hit as he did in
He's thick.
Seattle all the time. And he had the chance to be really, really good, but he just never took that jump. So I'm like, Bryce is not the answer. CJ Stroud, I didn't know anything about him, and he sounds really stupid when he talks, not gonna lie. Not a fan of that, but he's a down to earth guy. And I love to see it. I love to see stuff like that. A guy he's religious, so he's like, praise God all the time, whether you like that or not, whatever. I like that. But
He,
he's,
I Can I say one quick thing? He's got to
yeah,
cut out like to get the father out of jail shit because I'm pretty sure what his dad did was like
yeah,
It's jail worthy. Like,
Yeah,
I know you like your dad, but
I
like,
know it's
dude's
your
got to be
dad,
in.
but if he
Yeah,
commits a crime, he should probably do the time.
cut that one out. Otherwise,
Yeah,
love it.
you can't have that you can't be associated with that type of shit. Try to remove yourself from that. But yeah, great story. Love that
Mhm.
kid. Good for him. Love that it's just the Texans doing something different.
Oh,
They're like the
someone
youngest
different.
team in
Yeah,
the league, Or not like youngest team. I'm meaning like they're the youngest franchise. Like they might be, were they
what
the last ones
youngest?
added? They might have been.
2000. Yeah,
Yeah. Only team to ever to never change their logo because they're that young of a franchise. So yeah, really great. My third one will be similar to my second one. Just Tyreek's performance this year.
it's on
Um,
my list.
for a
He was
long time,
special.
or for a while, we're like, this guy's gonna break the Calvin Johnson record, which is unreal. I know he gets a couple more or like one more game, one or two more games than Calvin
He's
does.
5'9"
But he's
though.
5'9". He's
Kelvin's
the fucking fastest dude
6'5".
on the planet, arguably. Usain Bolt's getting old. Who knows? Um, just again in the MVP
Son,
race
he
as a
made Tua
receiver.
in the MVP race.
Right.
That's all I'm
You're
gonna
just
say.
elevating this team, making Mike McDaniel look like a fucking genius for going to get him. I thought that was cool. It made Miami fun again. Not that that town needs anything to make it more fun, but the football team needs something to make it more fun after the drought after Dan Marino's years. Um, I thought that was cool. And he's fun to
I
watch. I
agree.
mean, he's fucking fast. It's awesome. And he woo.
Um,
It's fun.
it's
So that's my third.
he was on fantasy teams. I get it.
Yeah,
Like, he's a
I love
stud.
fantasy. It's fun. He made it fun.
Um, I gotta do another personal one. The
Packers firing Joe Barry.
it was good. It's Packers Cowboys game. It's the
Yeah,
Packers
yeah, yeah,
Cowboys
yeah, yeah,
game.
yeah.
The slow rise and then fall and then rise after what I talked about beating the Chiefs and then complete fall, Giants Bucks, makes me question our playoff integrity. Going in that game, I'm like, I think we can do it. I said on here, I'm like, I'm picking them up, but I don't, like, and we fucking knocked them back like, oh dad, and then we just spanked them, pissed on them, fucked them up, like did the whole shebang. Unbelievable. My new boss's boss, Cowboys fan. First thing I said to him was like, how you feeling after that playoff loss, right? Yeah, I'm poking the director's stomach immediately. I'm like, come on. Like, unbelievable against Mike McCarthy, Jordan
Oh
Love's
yeah.
first playoff
Just
game, the
poetic.
youngest team in the league on Fox, like the whole thing. And to not just beat them, like we've beaten them in close games, but like
Wipe,
demolish
just
them.
wipe them.
48 on the ground. Defense played great. Joe Barry still gets fired. Fantastic. The whole thing was awesome. Great
Yeah.
moment for me and just the league.
Yeah. I mean, my last one is just Jordan Love as a whole. I had a lot of like complete seasons and the stories surrounded them as my top
Hmm.
things. So Jordan was my other one. There's so
Yeah.
much, and I know that's a Homer thing, but I don't fucking care. So
I'll
much
do a non-homer
drama,
next.
so much drama around just that story. Like, oh, he's taking over Aaron's stuff. Like, is he the guy? We see all this shit about him that might not be the guy. Whatever. He has starts the season decent against Chicago, fall slips a little bit. We have to come back at home to beat the Saints. It's like, oh, okay, and then we don't do too well in the middle of the season.
Got
Uh,
wrecked by the
some
Lions.
some moron with way too much saliva on Fox says that he's a backup
Backup.
at best. And we're like, fuck, is he? I don't know. I haven't seen enough. He's got the arm talent, blah, blah, blah. And then he just goes on a fucking tear. I don't even remember what it was. It was like something
It's 20,
around
22 to 2.
20 touchdowns to two picks or something like that.
Yeah, 22
Just
to 2.
an absolute tear. we won a bunch of those, lost a couple, but still he played really, really well. It makes the rest of the league probably pissed off because like, God damn it, these motherfuckers could have another Hall of Famer or another just 10-year starter. They just know what they're doing up there, which you know what? Suck it because maybe we do know what we're doing up here. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's so much fun. It makes me super excited about next year. I don't know if we can win the Super Bowl, but I think getting to the NFC Championship is a goal because if you made it to the divisional round,
It's not the goal. That's the standard. If you don't
you
get there,
can
it's
do
a
it.
failure of the
Then
season.
sure, that's fine. If you can get we almost made it there this year. If we tweak a couple mistakes here and there, we fucking win that game. And then God knows what happens against the Lions in the NFC Championship. So I think it just makes me excited again as a Packer fan after this long
Expectations.
6 or 7 months of I don't know what's going to happen. I know that sounds so spoiled
Mhm.
because there's teams that are like, you motherfuckers, I've been here for 30 years and I don't know what's going on with my team. So it's great to be a Green Bay boy at this time. So that's just Jordan
Yeah,
Love
the
in a
the
nutshell this year. That's my other one. So
the memes I've seen of like Taylor Swift has literally been a fan for like 30 seconds and I've been
yeah.
30 years and they're
Yeah.
buried like, oh God, never
All
won.
I want is a Super
Um,
Bowl, and she's a fan for half a year, and she already got one.
I'm gonna give my last pick before I do it. Quick shout out. I had the Bills up and down season with the Doug
Yeah,
McDermott like
that was wild too.
9/11 quote.
Are they
They
even
were
gonna make the
great, close.
playoffs? Oh my God.
Yeah, comeback. The Eagles collapse 10-1, and then they get slaughtered by the Niners, and it just was a shit show all the way to the end. Like
Yeah.
absolute shit show. But my last one, and you mentioned them, the Detroit Lions. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like that was fucking
Hell yeah.
awesome. A team that's not only were they like on the come up last year, Dan Campbell is the man. He turned that organization around. The draft picks on their team to go in to the playoffs in 30 years or whatever and have a home playoff games against, oh, I don't know, Matt Stafford, the guy who like was your king, and then to
Yeah.
beat him. And then they go, hey, we're having another one. And those games were so fun to watch. The fans are like crying just to be there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. They get to the championship game. Should have won it, really. Sad ending, but like, what a season for them. Awesome. I was
It's
rooting so
funny
hard
that
for a
a bunch
division
of
rival.
right, and that's my point. It's like it's kind of funny
Yeah.
that we're rooting for them even though they're in our division, and most people would be like, fuck them, I never want them to win again, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I
But
don't get those people. I look at them like Buffalo. They haven't won it in forever or
But that
ever.
just proves like how spoiled we are. Like our teams have always
Yeah.
been like either good enough to make it a certain way that other
Relevant.
teams can't, relevant. And you would argue that that's not good. Like you'd rather have
Important.
10 Super Bowls for 10 years and then not one for 30. And you could say you were 10 for 40, whatever. But
It's
yeah,
the
it's
only
kind of cool,
outlook, but that's just a winner's mentality. That's all I'm saying. But
I
we're
guess.
not Giannis up in here.
Shut up.
Okay.
I have to end this podcast right now.
Yeah, you should with that shit ass team. Okay, that's it. We're moving to a quick uni and then we'll finish her up. Last uni of the pod of the NFL season. No
Yeah.
pressure.
So it's nothing crazy. It's the Browns. I mean, you can't get too excited about the Browns at all. If your
Yeah.
main if your primary color is the name of your team and it's brown, that's not a good sign. So I did as much as I could. I think it's not bad. Um, I don't know who we have next after this. I think we have the AFC East, and that's about it. Like Miami, Buffalo, New England,
Yeah.
Dolphins. I
Yep.
think
I
that's
think
all we
so.
have. So we'll get them done at some point. But today we got the Browns. So in all of them, I'll just start right away. Lo and behold, we have a logo on the helmet. Okay. I'm using their like tertiary or whatever the fuck you want to call it logo. It's the damn bulldog. It's better than nothing. That's all I got to work with. That's the best one I could find. I'm not putting a fucking elf on a helmet. So it's the dog. I'm putting the bulldog's face on there. It looks good, whatever. That's for all the uniforms. For them,
I like the
and
dog.
yeah, what's wrong with that? I'm instead of doing like the three stripes where the white one is the middle, like the Packers have and the Browns currently have, and a lot of like those old school teams, Saints, Cowboys, Niners, they all have the colored stripes on the sides and then the white down the middle. I'm like, you know what? We're just doing two. So they don't get a lot of white on these because colors are their thing, apparently. That's why they're named the Browns. So they get two stripes right down the gut, and then they're just getting two stripes on the shoulders and the sides. Primary homes are all brown. They have these as like a color rush version, but they don't have stripes on the pants or they have, weird stripes on the shoulders, whatever. I'm just doing two stripes everywhere, all brown. The numbers have a little white outline if you want to throw some white in there, but yeah, all brown. Sure. Um, Secondary homes, we're doing brown jersey, orange pants, get a little every other, alternate the colors. This is similar to what they have already. Very simple. It does the trick. Tertiary homes, we're doing orange jerseys, brown pants. You're just switching those. Again, I don't want to do all orange. I just think it's too much. It's a fucking highlighter. I think the Broncos have all orange for one of their jerseys, and it's just too much. So
Yeah,
the
I'm not just orange. It's just not a good color. It
no,
just sucks. I hate
yeah,
it.
it's not very good. So it's like if you want to have some accents, that's fine, but that's about as far as I'd go as doing the orange jersey. But then you have to have a different color pant because it's just too much. Um, the primary aways, I got all white. You know,
It's the best one. That's the
yeah,
best one.
yeah, it's just switching it
It's
up, getting some. I even switched up the stripes on the shoulders. I went crazy, and instead of doing brown, I did orange stripes. Oh my God. Um, so it's not just all brown stripes. I'm like, gotta throw a little bit of color in there. It's fine.
hmm
Um, Secondary aways, white jerseys, orange pants, you know, nothing crazy here. Keeping the stripes the same, blah, blah, blah. Tertiary, white with brown pants. I think I like those better than the orange ones, but um, again, it's the Browns. What are you gonna do? It's the last one of the year.
Uniforms suck because of
Uniforms
the
suck, but
color
it's not,
scheme.
yeah, it's not
I
much I can
do.
do.
I think they're greatly improved with the dog on the helmet. I'll
They're
just
better
say
than what
that.
they have. And that was my goal, is to make
Yes,
every team's jerseys better
yes,
than what they have. And
but that you can't do much with
what
that
can you do
shit.
with the Browns? They need a fucking just an absolute rehaul of their entire brand. But they're not going to
Yes,
do that because they're such a
history.
old
Yeah, too
school
much.
historic franchise. So,
hmm All right,
all right,
that's
buddy
it.
boy, that's all we got. That's the 2023 to 2024 NFL season in a wrap. That's pretty cool. That was fun. Take a little
I got
break
nothing else to
here,
say.
go on
Take a
vacation.
break. Got some couple stuff coming up. Look forward to that. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
Get
we
the
gotta
women
get some,
involved.
yeah, we need some estrogen
Get
in
a little
here.
more rankings. Yep, it'll be
Yeah.
fun. Look forward to it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
make
get
some
toasted in
waves.
that.
Make some
Jesus
waves.
Christ. Yeah.
That'll
We
be
might
fun.
not be in relationships after that.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. We got March Madness, we got the draft, we got the NBA playoffs. There's a lot of
NBA will
stuff
be
that we'll do.
fiery.
Yeah, it'll be fun, especially if
Yeah.
it's Bucks Celtics.
Yeah, we'll see if you get there. We'll be there. Will you be there? That's the
Yeah.
question.
Well, I'm sure we'll be in the playoffs. I just don't know how far we'll get.
Yeah, round one like last year, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, see ya. Love ya. Bye.
Yeah, you can't talk enough shit. You gotta leave.